Hi, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we have another absolutely gigantic Tamiya kit. This one is the TXT-1, I believe first released in 2001 but run all the way up to 2012. And I think the model number on this one is 58280, I believe. So it's a twin motor, and I believe you can make it four-wheel steer. But let's bring in for a close-up look and see what we make of this gigantic Tamiya from 2001. So here we have the TXT-1, and should be pretty good condition, this one. The box is pretty undamaged, and on the top of it we have the normal paraphernalia that comes with the Tamiya cars. A little bit of a crease on top of this, but it's only the bit that shows us what you do with the actual body. Then we have the full sticker kit for the TXT-1. Some pretty cool stickers on there. Didn't realise you got the chrome bits with it. Then we've got the instruction manual. And I believe this can be built in one or two ways. I think you can build it front wheel steer or four wheel steer. It's a dual motor, and I'm sure these are servo on axle. I know the two motors are mounted up in the centre. So you've got your two motors mounted in centre, and I think building it normal, it tells you you need two servos. One of them will be for the mechanical speed controller, but you build them up with your steering servo on your axle, and I believe later on it gives you the option of doing the rear steer. Yeah, so four-wheel steering. So you can build it up to have steering on front and rear. Does tell you about using a two-channel controller. Basically, if I were going four-wheel steer, I don't think I'd advise going two channels. So we have extremely chunky tyres, and these look to be in fairly good condition. Then in the bottom of this part, we have the plastic body post, servo mounts, and the end for your track rods. Also comes with plastic servo horns that I believe, looking at the dimensions of them, should be able to swap them out for the Racing aluminium ones. They'd be a really nice upgrade to it, especially with it having really chunky heavy tyres, and it's not a light RC, this one. Let's have a look what we get in the metal parts box. So we've got a bag of screws for the A parts. E parts are tiny little E clips and a whole bunch of shims. Then we have a big tube of thread lock, a whole load of grease, a load of zip ties, and the Tamiya spanners, some body post clips looks like, and the mechanical speed controller but with 4 wires out for the motors. Then we've got the chrome springs, aluminium bars for the suspension, and some metal out drives. We got a huge bag of metal diff parts, and I think these are like the upgraded parts on the Juggernaut 2. There is some bearings, but it has got a whole load of bushings, so if you're ever going to build one of these, I would buy the full bearing kit for them. We've got the metal drive shafts. We've got all your ball joints in the F parts bag. We've got a D parts bag with what look like brass out drives. We've got one RS540 motor. That's where the little rubber bit's from. That's 2 RS540 motors. The motor plate for the dual motor setup, all your track rods, more metal drive shafts, I believe they go in axles, a whole load of shock oil and all the little rubber parts for the shocks. We've got more metal out drives and a few more metal bars. Then we've got a bag of nuts, bolts and screws, and some more E-clips, C-clips. So yeah, it's got quite a lot of nice parts in this. Wasn't sure how many bearings you'd get in it, because I know it takes a lot to build one of these, but I think if I ever get round to building it, it'll be a full bearing kit. And then I don't think I've ever built any of me Tamiya cars up and not gone full bearings in them. But that's as metal parts. There's big chunky wheels and tyres. And then pretty much the star of the show is the huge chunky aluminium metal chassis. So the chassis rails are ginormous on this thing. Kind of makes the lossy LMT look a bit flimsy. Then we've got two sets of our gears. We've got the bodies for the shocks. We've got all the rest of the parts for the shocks, including the spacers. We've got this weird little bit that kind of looks like a cover for batteries or a diff. But I'm not sure if that's a cover for the electric speed controller. Then we get this plastic part, which I'm sure that's the cover for speed controller. But weirdly, you get two really clear servo arms. We've got the plastic parts that are for your hubs and your bumpers and the rockers for suspension. Then we've got the hubs themselves, and I think these are same as the Clodbuster, if I'm not mistaken. Body shell wise, it's really nice when they do this, but you get a fully painted, really nice body. It's got all the light details already on it and the lightning, and then you get a completely clear body that you can paint up however you like yourself. So it's nice, it's still got all that with it. Then we've got what looks like sort of the internal chassis parts. I think that's the battery tie down, might be wrong. We've got the gear assembly housing for the centre. We've got what look like the front and rear bumpers and a few more plastic parts. And then we've got the axles themselves, and I believe these are the same as the upgraded ones for the Juggernaut 2. I think it was the Juggernaut 2 ones that they use on this. Because the original Juggernaut used to basically kill itself first run. I know because I had one, and Tamiya UK at the time recalled them all, and I sent it back and they gave me a full refund because they could never get it working. But I believe shortly after they then released an upgrade kit for it. But then we also got the Juggernaut 2, and I never had one of those, but apparently they got all the fixed parts. But just thought I'd give you a look at some of the kits and that we've got here at Wtf Rc Cars. And I know certainly if you're anything like me and you've been into RC cars years, these were the sort of cars that growing up I kind of looked at but could never actually afford, never justify having the money to buy one. And they're not exactly cheap to pick up now, and depending on where you get them from, they can be really expensive still. But if, like me, you're really passionate about the hobby and that, I just kind of want these in my collection. Don't get me wrong, I love the race cars what I've got, but the Tamiya kits always have a special place for me. But let's wrap this one up. So there you have it, the TXT-1, new in box still, from 2001. Obviously, if you're anything like me, you just love the Tamiya kits, and it's just kind of an obsession collecting them. But thanks again for watching WTF RC Cars. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.